Hey everybody, this is Greg Cowboys 1964, and that is Randall Sliper beside me. This is TeamMBSmedia.com, and we are the Draft Central crew. Joining us as well will be Mr. Bill Carroll here shortly. And before we go into this year's safety and tight ends top fives here that we all want to know about, I want to discuss this type of draft. This draft hasn't been seen since around 2013. Oh, Randall, that was the year the Bills took E.J. Manuel as quarterback.
Oh, man. I remember exactly where I was when we drafted E.J. Manuel. And I was at a Fairport bar, and the whole room went silent. And
He was the previous first-round quarterback. That was the only first-round QB taken until, of course, we had Kenny Pickett, which, of course, is one for Bill to be upset about. But again, this class does not have the premier positions that is going to be fully loaded. We have one quarterback who is going to go first overall in Mendoza. We don't have a left tackle who really grades out as a first-round draft pick. We have a couple of right tackles, but no left tackle. This wide receiver class is a good class, but it's not loaded with top-end talent. There's good talent all the way through, but they're not a huge amount of first-round graded guys. That's why we're going to be doing safeties and tight ends tonight. This safety class is loaded, right? I mean, it is absolutely loaded.
Yeah, I have a lot of guys. I got a lot of safeties in my top 100, and I'm not going to move them out because it's so talented. But it's a lot of fun. I think one of the most things I'm excited about is there's a good amount of true free safeties out there. Where now a true free safety is becoming very important, playing single high, and they're coming in at the right time.
And there's also the guys who are going to be considered to be the super type back, who can also play nickel corner for you, who can cover a tight end, who can shut down receivers.
Which is what won the Super Bowl, right? Nick Emenworry. Staying in nickel with Nick Emenworry.
Brian Branch, these types of guys who can play all those spots, including falling down into coming in and playing linebacker in some cases.
Correct.
So that's going to be the key thing here. The tight end class is also a very deep class. And when Bill joins us here in a minute or two, we'll go into Bill's class here. But let's put your top 5 tight ends up here, and you go ahead and tell us who your top 5 tight ends are.
Perfect. All right, we'll start from the top and go to the bottom. My number 5 tight end, which I think is the most different out of this podcast, is Michael Trigg from Baylor. I do know there's some off-field stuff, but we won't even talk about that. But what I really love about Michael Trigg is he is a deceptively good athlete for his size at 6'4", 240. He had 50 catches, 694 yards, 6 touchdowns. He had 2.18 yards per route run, and he has almost 5 yards after the catch per reception as well. He's a deceptively good route runner. He's elusive in the seam routes, in the 5-step glances and goes to get past to the second level and turn, get ready to catch and run immediately. And sneakily enough, he has some good nuance to his short route running, and he sells go routes in his comebacks and hitches. Really, really like that. And he does have, at 6'4", 240, some capability of dipping those hips to decelerate. Love that. He's a mean runner after the catch. Will throw his shoulder into anyone to pick up those extra 3 or 4 yards. Good awareness to adjust when he's covered. He's good in zone and good in open space. And my favorite thing for Michael Trigg, was how much he improved as a blocker from 2024 to 2025. Not a great blocker. He really does his best work if he's sitting in the slot or if he's pulling from the inline to go outside, but he can get it done. And then he's such a good offensive weapon that it kind of counteracts. So I have him as my number 5.
Yeah.
Number 4, Jack Endries. Big fan of Jack Endries. Reminds me of a Buffalo Bills tight end, I will say at the end. But 6'4", 240 pounds. Solid stats. He came in with a Shrine measurements. So he's got 31.5-inch arms. Not bad for a tight end. He had 33 catches, 346 yards, 3 touchdowns. He is a good overall route runner for a tight end. He comes in best when he's coming in line and attacking the sidelines and sails and seam routes. Does a really good at inline route running, which I love. He's a fearless catcher and a strong natural hands catcher. That's probably my favorite thing about Jack Endries. He's got 1 drop in the last 2 years. His vertical speed's very good. His seam routes and go routes are fluid. Gets up. He's got short quickness to accelerate in the first 5 and then separate on those seams. And then lateral. My little knock for him a little bit is lateral movement is a little inconsistent. He's stiff in his route running. His hips are stiff. He can sink a little bit, but not the greatest. But he's a very good open field zone tight end that comes in line. He's a good blocker, has good technique with a strong lower half, which I love. So he's not selling when you're in line if it's a run or a pass. He's good and athletic in the blocking on outsides as well. Wants to bulldoze a guy. I love it. Jack Endries reminds me a little bit of what Dawson Knox is right now.
Okay. And go down to your number 3 there.
Number 3, Max Clare. I think this is a little controversial at the moment, having him at number 3. I really like Max Clare. Big fan of him. 43 catches, 448 yards, 2 touchdowns this year. Had a lot of run blocking as well as receiving. He splits in line in the slot. My favorite thing about him is he's mega explosive out of the stance. When he's sitting in line, if he's in a 2-point or even standing up, he can shoot like a cannon to start either separating on a flat or a quick seam. Super impressed by that. Does a really good job at coming out of the backfield too if he's in a wing tee or a pistol style. Comes out of the backfield, either leads blocking or slips through like a B gap and creates really good separation or runs those good Texas routes and things along those lines. Really strong at the catch point. Does a really good job at chipping and then getting to his route. So he's good at the timing on that. And as well as Max Clare or Jack Endries is very good blocker as well. Has good technique, good strength, has a good anchor for a tight end, and just a good overall athlete. So I have him at the 3rd spot. And then the controversial is Justin Jolly. And I love Justin Jolly. I love Justin Jolly in 2024. And then my favorite thing about Justin Jolly was in 2024, his blocking was nowhere to be seen. I think he just refused to block. Even on outside runs, you can see him just like, stop. 2025, he actually figured out how to block. I think somebody must have told him, been like, hey, man, you got to block. You got to go to the NFL next year. So he ended up changing his stance a little bit, getting just in the downward stance with his 2 hands on his knees, and it gives him a little more oomph in that blocking, and he now is a good enough blocker with how good of a receiver is. In 2024, he had awesome highlight reel contested catches that were absolutely impressive. That rolled into 2025. He had 49 catches, 489 yards, 7 touchdowns, almost 2 yards per route run. He's got 15 total collegiate touchdowns. Solid in zone recognition. Short route running is solid. He does sink hips on ins and outs. That's very good. Solid vertical route runner. Strong hands. High point the ball per usual. Again, he improved his blocking, but he's my top red zone threat in the tight end class. The way he can high point his strong hands, and that's what the NFL needs for sure to make sure that you're converting your red zone. So he's at my number 2. And then Kenyon Sadiq is my number 1. Obviously, I think this is a consensus number 1, but I think the big question for everybody is where do you put Kenyon Sadiq? Early 2025, people were putting him in top 10 and then things along those lines. So where you put him is probably where the question is. I personally have him as a fringe first. I think he's a late first, early second guy. I don't think he's the likes of last year like Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland and folks along those lines. I don't think he should be a top 15 guy. but he's a fluid mover for 6'3", 245, probably the most fluid for that tight end class. He is a good blocker. They make him block alive, basically split 50-50 in running routes and blocking, which is impressive. But his short hitches and comebacks are great. Decent long speed for his size, obviously for a tight end. But he creates a mismatch because of his frame. His stem work is probably the best in the class. Deceptive and a quick plant and go to separate. He does very well. He's also a red zone threat. I'd say he's probably number 2 in red zone threat. That's going top 100. His hands are good. He has 6 drops this year at 10.5%, but I don't think that really speaks volumes of his hands. I think he's got better hands than that. Week one,
those drops were mostly thanks to the quarterback Dante Moore.
That's pretty much where I'm at. And to be honest, I won't lie to you, I did not watch the Oregon Montana State game, but he had 2 drops that game. If you take it away, it's under 6%. So that was week 1. But he's a good he's a fringe first tight end for me. I don't love having early top 20 tight ends. You need to be absolutely elite. So I have him in that late 1, but that's my number 1 tight end.
All right. Here's my top 5 tight ends. I have Stowers from Vanderbilt at number 5. And simply because of his receiving ability, he is an excellent receiver. His blocking is decent. Again, I also have Andrews on my list at number 4. You've already described his play. But then my guy is Joe Royer out of Cincinnati. Why? Because this man understands how to block. He really does how to block. He is a very good blocker. Claire was my number 2. And then my number 1 guy, of course, is Sadiq, who I can see going if Kansas City, picking at number 9, decides to have their next Travis Kelce. There's where he's going to go. It's a possibility.
Definitely a possibility.
Right? There is something to be said about taking a tight end high. Obviously, Brock Bowers, Tyler Warren, all these guys who have gone early, and of course Kyle Pitts, who was basically criticized by everybody. I don't get into the criticism of Kyle Pitts. I think the offensive calls in that system were just absolute garbage.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, when you don't have a guy with Pitts's movability actually moving,
right?
What are you doing? No, you don't leave a guy standing still like that.
Right. Yeah, I know. Absolutely insane. And I think it's crazy because obviously the coaching was an issue when it came down to the play calling. And you can almost tell because Kyle Pitts is probably going to get extended by Atlanta and they're going to pay him what he's worth in that tight end money. So I think they're even going to admit that they have been using him wrong with a lucrative incentive,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly right. And again, if Sadiq does go in the top 10 to Kansas City, like I just said, people will be upset. But Travis Kelce has one more season?
I think he should have 0, but
I think he should be done as well. But
I just don't see the Kansas City Chiefs doing insanely well enough for him to try and make a run. I think they need to retool and go for 2027. But so if you do, you got to do it for 2 years, in my personal opinion.
And that's why Sadiq could be the guy that gets picked.
And then the Cowboys get Jeremiah Love.
Well, if he's not taken by New Orleans or somebody else before that,
Good point.
Again, this whole draft, we know Fernando Mendoza is going first. We have no idea who's going second, whether it could be a Bain, whether it could be Bailey or Arvell Reese. We don't know who's going to go second.
Agreed. Right? Agreed. 100%. And when it comes down to it, it's like when you said people get upset. It's like you can't get upset when it comes to this draft because it's kind of all over the place. Just get your guy. Don't worry about value. Just like if you love him and you need him, just draft him.
See, now I've always been an anti-positional value guy. I've always been against this. I don't like these guys who say, well, he's not a left tackle, so we can't take him there. BS. If he's the best player on your board, you're taking that player.
100%.
Bottom line. Now, as I said to you in our DM chat, holy moly, in the last week, Caleb Downs has been falling to number 12, left,
Right.
right, and center. And I'm like, really?
Right.
I mean, if Caleb Downs is our pick, he's going to be a Cowboy. And that's including if Jeremiah Love doesn't get picked.
Right.
I'm taking Caleb Downs because the defense needs the player, right?
Absolutely.
Although I do have in my own list, I do have Love ranked ahead of Caleb Downs. But again, that's more due to my love of Notre Dame than anything else. But again, but Jeremiah Love, as I said all year long until Fernando Mendoza was wrapping up the Heisman, he was my Heisman pick, except for what happened against the Miami Hurricanes when I still don't have any idea what Mike Denbrock was calling in that game, but okay.
You got me on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just horrifying, right?
Oh yeah.
But this draft, like I said, is going to be reminiscent of the 2013.
Yeah, I agree. Which I mean, I think is kind of okay, especially because there's a lot of expectation in 2027. But I think a lot of teams just need a lot of foundational depth pieces to fill out rosters. Like you look at the NFC and how they built their team. There's a lot of good starting quality with some decent depth. AFC is bare bones. There's a lot of AFC teams that are looking at a starting roster, and if you lose your right tackle, like the Baltimore Ravens, you got their offensive line was so bare thin. Once they started getting injuries, they didn't have anybody to back it up. So really, you need to take in this draft as we're going to draft depth pieces and build them into a 6 years contributor, but not necessarily a big impactful guy.
Yeah, I mean that's going to be the key thing here, and of course we still have to go through free agency, right?
Of course.
So once free agency happens. And if the Cowboys, if Jerry, who has said again today, he is willing to spend money. Okay, yeah, all right, yeah. If you're going to spend the money, you don't put a franchise tag on George Pickens. You sign the guy. You sign him.
I assume that was just a stopgap for talking about an extension, right?
I mean, the franchise gap keeps every other team away from talking to George Pickens, right?
Right.
But if Jerry and Steven are actually going to speak to Mulugeta, who has not been contacted, of course. Oh, gee, where did we hear that one before?
Right.
Micah. If they don't speak to Mulugeta and get a deal done, well, then, of course, here we go with the franchise tag, right? And then you know what Mulugeta is going to do. George Pickens has a bad back. He's got, his hamstring's a little tight, blah, 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 right? And here we go again. But again, if the Cowboys do spend the money, not just on Pickens, because they can have $121 million to spend.
Yeah.
If the cap goes to the 304 that I've heard it goes to, they'll have $121 million to spend.
There you go.
Right?
Free reign.
Well, yeah. And that means they don't have to take anybody who is a positional value guy if they've signed these players in free agency.
Correct.
Right?
100%. That's what a good GM does, is they build their roster to where you could go in the draft and BPA.
And that's exactly how the Patriots turned up from a 4-win team to a 14-win team this year.
Yeah, they had a lot of money to spend, and they spent it.
Yeah, but they spent it wisely. They spent it wisely.
Yeah, they did. They did.
I mean, you know as well as I do, I picked the Bills to be in the Super Bowl this year, and of course the Rams and the Bills, neither one of them made it, but that's an odd. It's an odd year for me to not get the Super Bowl pick right. I don't get it, but anyhow,
random.
Yeah, Bill's top 5 tight ends here. He has Jack Roush, the Stanford tight end, who is also a very good blocker.
He is, and he moves pretty well for 260. He is a big guy. I agree. Big Sam Roush guy.
Yeah. And then, of course, he's got Stowers. He's got Jolly. Jolly was my 6th pick, just so you guys both know.
Stowers was my 6th.
Yeah. So, again, we have the different guys, Claire and Sadiq as well, right? Um, the other tight ends that are out there this year, there's still some very good guys. I mean, you've got excuse me. You've got Klein from Michigan.
Marlon Klein.
Yeah, Tanner Koziel from Houston. Eli
Bright.
Raridan from Notre Dame. Yeah, so there's still going to be some very good tight ends who will be later round draft picks, right? Oscar Delp, another guy
Yep.
who went to Georgia.
RJ
Josh
Maryland,
Cuevas from
Alabama.
Cuevas from Alabama. There's a tight end from Michigan State, Jack Velling.
John Michael Gillenborg from Wyoming.
Yeah,
he's had 2-year hype, but he fell off a little bit. He had more hype in 2024, but he's still a good tight end. I like him.
Yeah. So there is going to be a lot of tight ends taken in this draft. I mean that again, if Sadiq does go, it's either, like you said, a late round draft pick, or I think the Kansas City Chiefs may jump on him, and who knows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now let's move over to the safety class here. I'm going to go with my top 5. My top 5, I have Zakee Wheatley from Penn State, who's 6'2", 200 pounds. This guy is a very, very good safety. I think he's in your list as well, isn't he?
Correct. Yeah, he is.
Yeah. AJ Halsey from LSU, another guy who can play everywhere, absolutely anywhere.
Menace in the middle.
Yeah.
Menace in the middle. I think he's got 8 interceptions the last 2 years, in the middle from robbing in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
Emmanuel McNeil Warren from the Toledo. Here's a school that, again, people don't pay much attention to. I think there's been a couple of Toledo guys who've done very well lately, though, in the NFL, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Toledo. Everybody needs to watch Toledo. They bring some guys.
And especially in the secondary, right?
Yeah.
Dylan Thieneman, University of Oregon, former Purdue player. I said from the beginning this year on the last word that you and I do, he is just a fantastic safety. I don't think he got to show everything that he's capable of at the University of Oregon this year.
Yeah.
But what he showed the previous year at Purdue, he had the entire package, much like the number 1 guy, Caleb Downs. We all know that Caleb Downs can play any position out there. He can cover anybody, and the guy loves to hit people. Thieneman as well. He also likes to hit people. But those are my top 5 safeties. Go ahead with yours now, Randall.
All right. Well, we had Zakee Wheatley in the same exact spot, so that's perfect. I got a question for you on Zakee Wheatley, because I think we feel the same about him. He's very good. He's super athletic. His hands are amazing. I love that. Some of his interceptions are super highlight reels. He does really well in the box, absorbing contact for wide receivers. My question is because, like Emmanuel McNeil Warren can play everywhere. Dylan Thieneman can play everywhere. Caleb Downs can play everywhere. Zakee Wheatley can play everywhere. But do you think that he plays a little too conservative in the back?
I think that is from the coaches.
From the coaches?
Yeah. I think he will be a much better overall safety in the NFL, depending on where he gets picked, right?
Yeah. True. Yeah, what scheme he goes. Yeah, there's times where if he was running the back or it was split, he would almost kind of like hold up, and it could be right where the coaches are telling him just be that last line of defense type safety. But there looks like he had good play recognition and watching the QB's eyes, but he just didn't take that step to, go for an interception or anything. He only had 1 interception this year. I feel like there was a decent amount of opportunities for him to get better production, but he just didn't take that chance to get tackled. But you can see it as he's like processing it, that he understands it. And that's why I had the question for you for sure. But yeah,
Yeah.
big fan. And then on the different side, Bud Clark. I'm a big Bud Clark guy. He is in his 6th year, which I kind of love as a safety. I think safety is like the last position down where age clearly does not matter. And it
No.
almost helps because it helps you have a better IQ, a better floor, a better foundation going into the NFL. But man, he's a ball hawk. This year, he's got 4 interceptions, 6 PBUs. But with that ball hawk comes his risk. He loves taking risks and
Yeah.
giving up touchdowns. And I think
Yeah.
I'm willing to let that go and keep him as my safety 4 because he is a rover. He can be all over the place. He's 6'2", 190, and he's got good length. So he covers in man well and has good PBUs just covering man. But man, he is instinctual. He's explosive. He gravitates to the ball. He is that guy that will get you that interception as long as maybe once in a while you're willing to give up a touchdown. And then number 3, I have Dylan Thieneman, and I agree with you. And I guess in my initial rankings, I put him in 3rd above Emmanuel McNeil-Warren. But you made just a great point because sometimes when Oregon ran like their cover 3, it just limited Dylan Thieneman. And you're 100% right about that. Like Purdue, he was just everywhere. Like he was kind of like a little bit like Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, where he just flew everywhere. Good play recognition, good, understanding screens and just tackling consistently. But he showed that in Oregon, and I really love that. So, Thieneman and Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, I will probably, when I come out with a top 50, will probably be either one number away or 2 numbers away because I like them so much. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, just as you talked about, Toledo Dogs, 2 interceptions, 5 PBUs, absolute glider on the field. He just moves so quickly and so fluidly. He could come down to safety blitzes that the NFL loves, and the NFL is looking at now, bringing simulated pressures and creepers. He is that guy that can get that done as well. He had 1 sack, 2 QB hits, and 5 pressures just last year. And then, of course, Caleb Downs, as you said, there's not much to talk about when it comes to Caleb Downs. I guess the epitome of talking about Caleb Downs is they were like, list the top 4 greatest tight end or safeties in the last 25 years. Ramsey, Fitzpatrick, everybody like that. He was like, where would Caleb Downs be in there? And really the answer to that is if you're putting him in the crowd of the top 4 safeties of the 2010, 2020s in the last 15 years, that's a good thing. So
I'll tell you where I've got Caleb Downs.
Do it.
A guy who belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame because he stopped Jerry Rice as a safety, Darren Woodson. Woodson could do it all. He did it all.
Oh, yeah, he could.
Right?
Yeah.
And again, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, those guys are absolutely insane the way that they don't put these players in who belong there. I've even said the Washington Commanders, Jerry Smith, who, because he was a gay man, and he played in the middle of the 60s and to the middle of the 70s. He doesn't get the all decade team credit that he deserves. There's so many guys that belong in the Pro Football Hall of Fame that are not even. It's totally ridiculous.
Absolutely.
It's completely ridiculous. There's a guy who won the 3 Super Bowls, Luke Kuechly. Okay, yeah, but what did he ever win?
Right.
Kuechly was a very good linebacker. Yeah, okay.
Right.
But Darren Woodson, not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's beyond disgusting.
I agree. Do you think that they're going to change because of how much of a mess it was this year?
No,
probably not.
It's going to be like the MLB writers because
this
is the problem. The Pro Football Hall of Fame had that big class in 2020, and they had those older guys finally get in that needed to.
Yeah,
they haven't done it since. They have not done it since.
Good point.
How in the heck is the Pro Football Hall of Fame that Roger Craig finally got in? Right. I mean, Chuck Howley's son had to go up on stage. The man who won the MVP in the Super Bowl.
Right.
On a losing team, by the way. But Super Bowl 5, Chuck Howley was the Super Bowl MVP when they lost to the Baltimore Colts. And that man had Alzheimer's by the time he finally got, it's just so disgusting. It really is.
I could not agree more.
So, it really does drive me off the deep end. Let's go to Bill's safeties here. He has Michael Taft from Texas. Now, Bud Clark was my 6th pick. Taff is my 7th. You know, but Taft from Texas, he is just he's a walk on. He's a great story, all that fun
Yes.
sort of stuff. He's got McNeil Warren as 4th, Bud Clark as 3rd, Thieneman as the 2nd, and then of course Caleb Downs. So again, there are plenty, and I mean plenty, of other safeties this year.
I think my honorable mention was Genesis Smith from Arizona.
Yeah.
He may not be able to tackle, but he has the best range as a free safety.
Right. Bishop Fitzgerald.
Yes.
Jalen Kilgore, who I absolutely
you see him as a safety?
I see him playing. I see him playing a little bit of everything. Right.
I think you're right. Yeah. He's great. I have him labeled as a nickel, but he's a nickel safety hybrid for sure. But he can do both.
Yeah.
Well,
he's
impressive.
Do both.
Right.
Exactly. Right. Then
Kamari Ramsey.
You've got and you've got Isaac Smith. You've got Armand Moses. You've got
Miles Scott.
Oh, yeah. Deuce Chestnut. You've got a whole bunch of safeties. And again, this draft is going to be a different draft from the others because the entire group of safeties, linebackers this year, they are very, very deep, very deep. So again, because this is a different type of a draft class, that's what we're going to see here. So what we're going to do here right now, I'm going to put on a couple of quick commercials here, and then we're going to have our guest, Trey Williams III from North Texas, come on. So hang on for that, kids.
You are watching Team NBS Media. We are a digital media brand covering sports, entertainment, and lifestyle, with team members all across the country. Through our written content, podcasts, and video content, we bring you fresh and professional content. Interested in joining the team? Shoot us an email or DM. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
All right, and as promised, here is Trey Williams III, North Texas tight end. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are y'all doing tonight?
Doing very good, very good. Let's talk about your journey to North Texas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, where did you go to school before North Texas?
I started off at my first school was a Division II school in Carrollton, Georgia, called West Georgia.
Yeah.
Started my career off there at fullback, tight end, everything. Kind of just getting my feet wet at the position. Started off in high school. I played quarterback and outside linebacker. So this is my first time really playing like tight end, H-back, doing a lot of like the blocking. And all this stuff. And so I had to like really use that year to really develop and grow and learn a lot about the position. So I spent 3 years there. I redshirted my first year in 21 and played in 22 and played in 23. And then after my stint there at West Georgia, I ended up transferring to the University of Limestone. Had a pretty good year there, and then entered the transfer portal, wanted to play Division I ball, and that was my goal, my dream, and I ended up at North Texas.
There you go. There you go. So again, you're really not a guy who has played a lot of tight end, halfback in high school and things like that. So, what was the toughest challenge for you to become a tight end halfback?
Um, Not seeing the ball as much. That was kind of, going from playing quarterback, seeing the ball every play to,
Yeah,
going to tight end. And my first fall camp, I don't think I saw the ball at all. My first fall camp, I was ISO blocking, lead blocking, perimeter blocking, split zone, insert zone, C gap cutoff, power, uno duo, all
yeah,
types of gap scheme and zone scheme runs, and getting out there in the perimeter and just learning perimeter blocking and everything. And we didn't really use the tight end and like fullback position a whole lot at West Georgia, so it was kind of
right.
that's why we didn't really get the ball that much. But
Yeah,
once like the season started, and I was over there on scout team during the season because I ended up redshirting that year. I didn't really even play tight end on scout team. I
team.
pretty much went back to my original. I played running back. I played receiver. I was the quarterback whenever we were scouting for Mississippi College. We ran the triple option. No, I was the triple option quarterback for us and
Yeah.
everything. So I pretty much I'm an athlete, so I can do like anything, and that's really what is my strength entering the draft. Is just me being able to do a whole lot of things. Willing to play on special teams. You can put me all over the place, and just me being able to do a lot of things.
Awesome. So again, in terms of your actual size, we've seen 6'3", 229. We've seen 6'1", 221. Where are you currently height and weight wise?
6'2", 230.
6'2", 230. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I didn't believe the 6'1". What?
Yeah.
No, he's not that small.
No,
Right.
sir.
No, but again, unless of course you're going to a Notre Dame, which has that standard of this is your size and that's it, that's all. Most
Mhm.
schools do have a little bit of fibbing going on, right?
Yes,
Um,
sir.
you know, so again, you're 6'2", 230 pounds, which puts you down at the lower end of the tight end size that the NFL guys like, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Um, do you have more of an option as being a halfback?
Yes, sir. I mean, that's kind of like what I label myself as is like, an athlete going in, but I'm kind of fit the frame of like the move tight end. The guy
Yeah,
Hmm.
the move tight end to the H back position. That's kind of like how like they look at it in the NFL and like
right.
UFL type area. It's kind of like the move tight end, H back area, which move tight end is kind of like the guy that you motion around, get him on mismatches against linebackers and safeties and stuff. The guy that can run the option routes, the guy that can, you can run seams, crossers, over routes and everything with him. Guy that can just leak out in space and just give him the ball in the flats and let him work when he needs the ball. And he's guy that you, of course, in the blocking game, insert, split zone, arcing out on the perimeter blocking, doing all those things, which I have plenty of film of and show that I can
Yeah,
do. And that's just kind of the way I look at it is like, I'm just a mismatch on a lot of teams. There's a couple guys that have played in the league around my size, like Irv Smith played at Alabama, he got measured in at 6'2",
Hmm.
235.
yeah,
Ended up playing for the Vikings, had a pretty good career. Jaheim Bell played for South Carolina, and he played for Florida State. Came in at 6'2", I think he was like 240 something. He was
yeah,
240ish or so. He was kind of a guy that was around my frame. And then there was another guy, the Titans tight end. He's kind of like an H back, kind of like what I was
yep,
describing, the H
yep.
back uh, type guy, and he has a 6'2" frame as well. And then we got like the tight ends like the Evan Ingrams and like the Jonnu Smiths of those type guys that are they got measured in at 6'3" and stuff. They're still on like kind of the smaller end when
Oh,
it comes to like height
smaller,
of
right?
tight ends
Yeah,
and everything.
exactly.
So that's kind of
Yeah.
like what I look at. And then also I'm like willing to be kind of like a use check type guy, like being fit into like the Kyle Shanahan type offense, being a guy that, play fullback, leak out into the flash, run routes, can do a lot of things. And again, just a big special teams guy, a guy that's willing to go out there and play.
Well, another player that you remind me of is Taysom Hill.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So that's the type of player that I can see you being as well. Just so you know, I live up here in the frozen north of Canada. Guess
Yes,
what?
sir.
We don't have tight ends up in Canada,
Yes.
but you would be a very, very good slot receiver up here as well.
Yes, sir.
So Randall, go ahead and ask Trey a question.
Yeah, most definitely. So, started in West Georgia, and then you went to Limestone University. and then made it to North Texas, correct?
Yes, sir.
And then in Limestone University, you were the number one tight end to come out into D2 going to D1, had great stats. Were you blocking just as much over at Limestone as well? Because I feel like in North Texas, they made you block a whole bunch. Did he catch that from West Georgia, or did you consistently block throughout your whole entire collegiate career?
Kind of like I'm just a ball player, you know what I mean? It's just I'm just a guy that's just willing to go out there and do whatever I need to do to help the team win. And Limestone, we ran a lot of 12 personnel at Limestone, so it was a little different than what we did at North Texas. North Texas was more air raid, Coach kind of was more favored towards 10 personnel, but then realized how well we were running the ball with 11 personnel and everything. And so it was just tailored towards more, just run blocking and everything. We had one of the best, if not the best, running back in college football statistically, and just having to get him the ball. He touched the ball and he was almost a touchdown every play, every time he touched the ball. So we just ran the ball a whole lot. Just didn't really play too many schematic plays trying to draw stuff up for a whole bunch of people. We had a couple guys that he had the ball get to, and then the rest of everyone else that got touches was mainly just through progression and everything this year. So really it was just how we were looking during the season was just we had a really good running back, had a really good run game. They really wanted to establish the run game. The only way I was going to play for real when I realized during the season, especially during the beginning of the season, I realized I was like, okay, I got to be willing to block. I'm not going to, because they're not going to put me on the field, because then they'll just go out there with 10 personnel and just run with 4 receivers out there, because there's no point in having me out there because I'm not willing, I'm not blocking. So, I'm a ball player at the end of the day. I love football, I love the game. And of course, I'd want the ball more in my hands. But at the end of the day, I'm trying to win. We're trying to win football games. The ultimate goal of playing this sport is to win football games and win a championship. So I did what I needed to do for the team to go out there and be a team first guy and go out there and put everything on the line and block my tail off. I know what I did the year before, and I know what I can do when I do get the ball in my hands. But at the end of the day, it's whatever the team needs. And that's kind of how we went with it. It was just we had a really good run game and everything, and I just took what I got and went out there and did what I needed to do for the team.
And then how was, if I'm not mistaken, Limestone University, did they end up closing down after you departed, or are they closed now?
Yes, sir. They closed down after I left. It was sometime in April when the school shut down. Yes, sir.
Gotcha. And then for North Texas, I mean, impressive stats, impressive tape. You were efficient, catching 30 balls, but out of those 30 balls, 5 of them being touchdowns. Which one was your favorite of the year?
Probably the one against Rice.
That was a good one. The 62-yarder?
Yes, sir. It's probably definitely my favorite one, just because I've been waiting so long to finally get one like that and just take one to the crib and everything, especially from Limestone. I had two of them the year before. I had an 88-yard one and I had 72 or 74-yard one from Limestone. So I was just waiting, patient, just staying patient for real. Just finally got one. So that was definitely my favorite. Felt good to finally get one of those.
Hey, for 6'2", 235, you had some separation on that go. It looked good.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
So North Texas is a high-powered offense. What NFL team's offense do you like best or best suited for you? Other than the Saints, because Greg says you seem like Mason Mill.
Yes, sir. Of course, like you said, we're gonna just not count the Saints. Saints was definitely one of them. But I love the Kyle Shanahan's offense out in San Francisco. The way he uses all types of guys, like his 2 tight ends that he uses out there, and the way he does things with them, puts them in mismatches, and again, how he uses Kyle Juszczyk, and the benefit that he does for that team, and just all the creative things that he does with his offense and just with the pieces and stuff. And kind of like a guy like me that's kind of like a plug and play gadget guy and stuff. I feel like I fit his scheme a lot. And then Mike McDaniel's over at the Chargers now. His offense, just what he did with Jonnu Smith when he was with the Dolphins and everything. I mean, he just had a great year. Went for 800 plus yards that season. Just had a breakout year and just did really good. And just put him in great spots, great opportunities for him to show what he can actually do. So, I mean, just of offense with him and just showcasing just what he could do at tight end. And then, of course, the Chiefs. I mean, the Chiefs is that's kind of like the main one. Of course, you would love to play over there and be in Andy Reid's offense and just do things like Travis Kelce's doing and going out there and letting you work. But again, a guy like me, I gotta earn my stripes, gotta get out there, get in with the special teams coach and, wait my turn and get out there, make plays on kickoff, KOR, punt pressure, and do my thing, and then wait for my opportunity to finally go. But those are like some of the top offenses that I believe that I would fit best in when I get my opportunity.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, honestly, your short and intermediate route running reminds me a little bit of Travis Kelce. I think you had that good wiggle to it, but also show that kind of positive, those seam routes, those like quick five step glances that Travis Kelce always does with Mahomes. I think you do that very well, which is very cool. So yeah, I mean, I think Kansas City needs 2 tight ends probably soon. So that's a good call. Other than that, I guess my last question: top QBs you'd like to catch passes from in the NFL, other than the system, just quarterbacks in themselves.
Ooh, what do you think? I ain't gonna lie, Jalen Hurts is one of them. I want to catch one from Jalen Hurts, and
Absolutely.
let me another Patrick Mahomes. I gotta say Pat
There.
Mahomes. I gotta say them two.
There you go. I have a Bills hoodie on, by the way.
Yes, sir.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you said two. You said two. My bad. My bad. You said two.
That's okay.
So I
I'm
had
just
to.
kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate your time, and those are my questions, Greg.
Yes, sir.
All right, Trey. This next question is one that every guest had to answer last year.
Okay.
What is your favorite meal? Be it breakfast, lunch, supper time. What is your favorite meal?
My favorite meal. Let's go with. Dang, that's a tough one. Um, you know what? This is probably my favorite so far. I've cooked this probably the past, let's say, 3 nights. Let's do steak, a medium steak, some sweet potatoes, and asparagus. Probably my
Asparagus.
favorite. Yes,
There
sir.
you
That might be
go.
my favorite meal right now.
Yeah.
Great
Yes,
answer.
sir.
Well, there you are. So again, the typical steak answer, but we did have a couple of guys who went chicken last year, though, right? So
Okay.
that was also. Oh, okay.
Yeah, steak's like an 80% hit rate, but it makes sense.
Yeah,
And the
it
sweet
makes sense.
potatoes is a good
It makes sense.
addition. Sweet
But
potatoes are
again,
the best.
you don't do the well done thing, which is just
Oh
that,
no, can't
that's
do
horrible.
that.
That's horrible.
No,
That's
sir.
horrible, right? So where are you currently trading?
I'm training with Pete Kinetic up in they're in like the Ringo, Georgia area. You know, they
Yeah.
train guys like Lad McConkey for the Chargers and Brenton Strange, tight end for the uh for the Jacksonville Jaguars, and
Yeah.
a bunch of other like baseball guys as well that play for like a couple minor league teams, and then some of the major league baseball teams and stuff. They've trained a bunch of them, and then they have a UFL guy named Isaiah Mack, plays for one of the UFL teams, the Orlando team, and
Yeah.
then they have a CFL guy that plays for the Bombers.
Yes, that's the Winnipeg Blue
Yes,
Bombers.
yes,
Yes.
sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. He plays
Yeah.
for them, and then they have another IFL guy that trains up there, and then a couple of us pro day guys that they train every year.
Yeah. And when is your pro day at North Texas?
March 26th.
March 26th.
Yes, sir.
Very nice.
So that'll be a very busy time for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We've been busy all these past like month and a half and everything with pro day
Yeah.
training and just recovery. Just pretty much around the clock all day.
No doubt. No doubt. Well, again, as we say to every one of the people that we have on our show, during the draft on the Saturday, if you are picked, you can let us know. We'll have you come on. You'll talk about that. Or if it's as a UDFA, usually that's going to be like the week after our program that we'll do then. You let us know. Boom, we'll get you on. Okay, because
Yes, sir.
we had the young guy who was with he was an offensive lineman last year who ended up going to Winnipeg.
Okay.
Cal guard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So again, that's something that we love to do. We love to give you guys as much exposure as possible. And I wish you all the best because, like I said, even if you end up coming up here to Canada, you'll love this.
Yes, sir.
This big field up here, and you get to move.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
But again,
I'm willing to. So I'm not definitely not like a mark off my board. I'm definitely willing to come anywhere to play ball. I just want to play.
yeah,
At the end of the
no,
day.
exactly right. Of course, but the Canadian football field is going down in size, except for the width. The width is going to stay the same, but the
Yes,
field
sir.
is going to be the 100-yard field instead of the 115-yard field, right? So,
Yes, sir.
I to me, I just don't understand why this new commissioner has decided that, but okay, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, but we'll see what happens. And again, like I said, if you do get picked in the draft, you come on with us, or as a UDFA, you just let us know, because we're going to be staying connected there on X. And again, we wish you very, very well.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
You
Yes,
take care,
sir.
Trey.
Yes, sir. Y'all too. Thank you for having me. I appreciate y'all.
Not a
Trey.
problem.
Yes, sir. Y'all have a good one.
All right.
All right.
Awesome guy.
Yep.
He moves
And-
good.
Oh yeah.
I like this tape. His tape is NFL worthy.
Yep. Only war vets and people with death with eat undercooked meat gunny. Mr. Barnes, there is no way in hell you'll ever get me to eat a well done steak. My
That is
parents
out.
had well done steaks for years and years and years, and it just horrifying.
People with a death wish is entirely too extreme.
You know, so again, you know, I'm sorry, but mine is medium, just as Trey said. That's the key thing there. And again, I do see a lot of Taysom Hill in that young man.
I do. Yeah. I mean, he moves in the backfield. He moves so well. Like,
Yep.
as he's saying, he did the wing tee. Like, he's in that backfield. North Texas made him pass block like 118 times. That's pretty crazy. So, I mean, he's such a good blocker. His feet are so well. So, and he's got such good movement in the short and intermediate and the long. So, man, he's a good player.
I wish the Dallas Cowboys would have that type of a guy. I really do.
If Buffalo cuts Ty Johnson, or we move on from Dawson Knox, I think that'd be great.
Mr. Bill, how are you, sir?
Doing well.
Yeah. There we are. So we did our tight ends and safeties. But again,
Did you?
Oh yes. Because of course we start at 7:30, right? Eastern time.
7:30 Eastern.
Eastern. I sent you EST, Mr. Bill, but okay. These things happen.
I always love just using a military clock, because then you don't have to worry about.
Well, yes,
I'm into that.
I could have sent you the.
But it's okay.
17:30. I know.
It is never.
I talked up Bud Clark enough for you.
Oh,
yes, he already talked Bud Clark.
So Randall, were you at Mobile? Because I couldn't find you.
No, I got stuck. I live in Northwest Arkansas, and I got stuck from the storm because the ice storm went through southeastern Arkansas. Couldn't get through. Are you going to be at the combine?
Well, I mean, I guess we'll see. I'll check to see if I've been approved. But yeah, well, I had to BYOB, be my own blocker through some parts of Tennessee, driving from Chicago to Mobile. So I understand.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to let some silly ice and snow stop me.
Oh, it was brutal in southeast Arkansas. Roads were closed. I'm not sure.
They closed I-65. That didn't stop me.
Touche.
Exactly right. Well, Mr. Bill, here are your top 5 tight ends.
Yes, they are.
So you give us your rundown of your top 5 tight ends.
Sure. I'll start, I guess, in reverse order. Sam Roush is, for those teams that are like the Chargers or like the Rams or like who else? Or like the Bears or the Lions, where you do want a certain amount of receiving production, but you want at least 50% of the value of that player to come from what they do in the run game.
Yep.
And Sam Roush is really one of the few tight ends in this class who is actually an asset in the run game. Some of the others hold their own or do okay. Sam Roush is legitimately a threat as a blocker.
Yeah.
And frankly, if we were just grading on blocking, he would not be number 5. He'd probably be number 1 amongst this group. In fact, he is by far the best blocker of the group here, with maybe Max Clare being a close second. Not even that close, but a second, a not too far away second. Then we come to Eli Stowers, who is at the whole other end of the spectrum. He can block on the move. He can block on the move, right? I'll be fascinated to see what he actually for real actually weighs. I was hoping he would show up at some of the All-Star games or something, but we'll have to wait until the combine, I guess, to find out his actual for real weight. But I will not be surprised if he's plus or minus 232, right? If he's within 4 or 5 pounds of that weight on either side. He is, essentially a very large slot receiver, but a very good one. And he can block on the move. So if you want him to block, just get some momentum going. That's simple. He's not a bad blocker. He just can't just line up and put his face into a defensive lineman. That's not his thing. But if you want him to block a linebacker or a safety on the move, or even a chip, he can chip on even a big defensive line as long as he's not doing it by himself. Then we come to Justin Joly. So for those who for wondering, it is not pronounced Jolly, it is Joly. And
it's
two things.
Kind of like the Roy goaltender. No, it was Roy. Okay,
Exactly.
Roy.
Oh yeah,
Jolie is the same thing. Yes.
It is Joly. He is not quite as underpowered as a guy like Stowers, but he's not also quite a full-size tight end. He's got it between the two. I think he could probably put on another 12-ish pounds without doing too much in terms of his athletic performance, and he could probably become a functional-ish blocker. I mean, the bar has moved, right? If I were grading this 30 years ago, these would be harsher grades, but the position has changed, so I'm not going to grade too harshly, but he's a functional blocker. Then we go to Max Clare, who's probably the second best blocker of the group, and probably the third best receiver of the group. So if you're looking for somebody who gives you a little bit of both, once again, Max Clare is not a bad choice. He can catch the ball outside the frame of his body. He can reach behind himself. He has good range. He's not scintillating after the catch exactly. He's not about to hurdle a bunch of people. He's not about to run away from a bunch of people. He can run over the occasional person, especially if they come in at the wrong angle. Sometimes people will bounce off him, things like that. But he's not super dynamic or creative after the catch. And then we come to a player who, in another year might have been the number 3 tight end, right? Like last year. But he's not in last year's draft. Well done, Mr. Sadiq. He's in this year's draft. So now he gets to be number 1. He's probably going to come in plus or minus 242. We'll see, right? It's always probably the unveiling, the unwrapping when they get to the combine. How big or small these players actually. Some players shrink up like bacon in the pan, and some, maintain a certain amount of their actual supposed size. I'll be excited to see if he can come in the high 240s and still test well. That argues well for him staying, establishing himself as number 1 and being able to maybe develop as a blocker. And he's not, once again, a terrible blocker. He's not embarrassing himself as a blocker. He's just enough. He blocks enough is probably the way I'd like to put it. And if you're thinking about people that we've seen in the NFL, there's a few somewhat similar, Greg Dulcich. I mean, there's a few guys in terms of blocking, just blocking. He's better after the catch, but just blocking. Guys like Dulcich. Dulcich was a guy that people wondered if they'd be able to block enough. Well, guess what? He's blocked enough. So he can be that. He can be, as a blocker, he can be that. I think he can be more as a receiver than Dulcich, but he can be that as a blocker. So that is the 5.
Yeah. And when Randall and I did ours earlier, I said, well, there is a possibility that Sadiq goes top 10 if Kansas City decides to take tight end. If Kansas City decides. That's all I'm saying, right? If they decide to. But again, I have him more as a late round.
If you like Sadiq a lot and you're in the top 10, explore trade down possibilities.
Bingo.
I agree with that.
Yeah, exactly right. So let's go through your safety class.
And this is informed and not just by mostly by film, but a little bit by what I think will happen in terms of athletic testing, and also talking to some of these players. I've had a chance to luckily spend some time with not all of them, but a couple of them. And Bud Clark was going to be in the top 5 no matter what, but he definitely pushed himself a couple of spots higher than he might have been, at least in part because he was one of the stars of the Senior Bowl. You could hear him, right? He made himself known. He is a constant talker of bovine excrement. He keeps it going. Like he's an irritant, and I mean that in a good way. Like you hate to play against him, but you love to play with him. Think Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, right? That kind of guy who's constantly in somebody's grill, in somebody's business, in somebody's Kool-Aid, and didn't even like chip in on it. But I'll start with Michael Taft. So Michael Taft, when you meet him and you look at him, like he seems like a very nice young man. He probably is very involved in charities. He's probably a constant presence in church. But he has a little more mean onto the field than his actual outward countenance would suggest just by meeting and talk with him. He is, I'm going to date myself, but for those who are old enough to remember the guy they used to call the Great Gazoo because of his oversized helmet, Mark Kelso. I know, I'm sorry for those that are, born post 1990 or even post 1980 even, but just Google it, right? Hop on the YouTube. But he is that guy who's going to get it done mentally. He's going to test all right? But he's got enough of everything you need physically, but he's got it all up here, and he's going to be a guy that, if you're younger, I mean, he's not quite Reed Blankenship, but he's closer to frankly to Kelso, but Blankenship is close-ish, but Kelso's almost perfect.
Yeah.
Now we come to one of the really rising, one of the stocks, if you want to think of it that way. Like, remember how silver prices were about a week and a half ago? That's what it's been like for Emmanuel McNeil Warren. He's not quite Nick Imamori, right? I've heard people throw that comparison around. Well, one, he's not as big and he's not as athletic.
No.
And he's not as raw also, though. He's a little more developed. I know people automatically think, oh, Mac, raw? No. First of all, why do you think that? Guys aren't developed based on the size of the school, right? That's not how it works. But and once again, Mac schools aren't even small schools to me. I mean, I've been on some of these campuses. These are good-sized schools. People use the term small school, and people's like, have you been to Central Florida? It's enormous. But back to Mr. Warren. Mr. McNeil Warren, I really think he has a chance to see the field very soon as a professional. He may be asked to play a lot of slot, which he can do. He can come close to the line of scrimmage. He can play deep middle. Like, he has a lot of versatility. In fact, the next two guys are maybe the most versatile too. Well, except for Mr. Downs. But both of these two players, both McNeil Warren and Bud Clark, give you a lot of opportunities to get them on the field in dime situations, nickel situations, and even your base defense, but lining it up in different places. He can be your third safety in big nickel, Mr. Warren. He can be in the slot, sometimes in your base defense, or if you are going to a place where you're sort of doing double slots, if one of those people if one of those quote-unquote slots is actually, once again, a detached tight end, this is where Mr. McNeil Warren earns a lot of his money because he has the size and strength to at least hold his own against tight ends. And then once again, I'm going to come back to Bud Clark. I know there's been enough bloviation regarding Mr. Clark, but I'm going to give it a little bit more. There's not much on a football field that you would ever ask a defensive back to do that Bud Clark can't do. He can flip his hips and turn and run like all but maybe the top 7 or so corners in this class. Like, if you were evaluated as a corner based on man coverage skills, he would be in the top 10 and maybe not quite top 5, but he'd be in that 5 to 10 range probably. He has tremendous instincts and agility. Then when you add to that, he's a ball hawk with 15 career interceptions, and you add to that he doesn't mind hitting people. He brings some thump with him, right? Some funk and some thump. And then to wrap up, obviously Caleb Downs at the top of Mr. Tiedemann is all the things I sort of said earlier, not sort of said, I did say earlier about Mr. Taft, but now add a little more of everything, right? Turn it up. a little more athletic ability, a little more seeing it even maybe a little bit faster, a little more ability to get the ball back, a little more thump in the tackling. So everything you like, if you like Taft, just add a little bit more. Yeah, the long drive's a killer. Hey, tell me about it. It was 19 hours because of that crazy snow and wind and everything and ice coming up. About 13 going back because it wasn't quite as bad going back. But yes, trust me. That was a real test of Matilda, my 2004 Range Rover's ability and my own driving ability. And if I had known it would be that bad, I might have flowed. But I'm an idiot. So back to finishing this up. I feel like in terms of the top three guys are all immediate starters, right? I think those all three of the guys are going to be. I think even Emmanuel McNeil Warren could be a guy that plays 40 to 60% of your snaps right away, depending on what you want to do on defense. And then obviously you have to come to Caleb Downs. There are people who have Caleb Downs ranked as their number one overall prospect. Now that might be more a commentary on what they think of this draft class than, of course, I'll mention Caleb Downs is great. He's not. There's an overused term that I try to stay away from in scouting called generational. And it used to mean like every 20 years, and now it means every 3. So I've stopped using the term altogether because it's been misused so much. I would not use the term generational to describe this guy because I'm thinking of people like, Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu. I mean, I'm thinking about guys or Sean Taylor, come on once every 20 years, 20 or more years. He's not that. Is he really, really good? Is he going to be in the league for 12 or 13 years? He's going to probably go to 6 Pro Bowls, which I know doesn't mean what it used to mean, and probably make all pro a couple times. I think you can check all of those boxes. And if you're really like trying to get a person he could be, a type of player he could be, someone you think, I would say, I mean, close-ish to Jesse Bates. I think he's probably not quite as physically powerful, but I think he might be a little more versatile than Bates. But he's a guy that can play literally every position in your defense. Now, he won't play them all equally well, but all of the safety and safety-ish roles he could play at a super high level. And if you said play man corner, I don't think he would embarrass himself, but it wouldn't be great, right? You should probably have better options. Now some teams don't, right? I mean, shout out to the Colts. There are some teams that don't have better options, or at least it didn't work out for them. Next year it'll be better next year. But in terms of instincts and range, in terms of enough of a hitter, right? I mean, for those that grew up in the 60s and 70s, he's not what you think of as a hitter, right? We have a whole different standard. If you grew up on Mel Blount, if you grew up on Jack Tatum, none of these guys are hitters, right? None of these guys. If you grew up on Joey Browder, like none of these guys are hitters, or even Steve Atwater, or heck, even Adam Archuleta. He wasn't great at everything. He could stick you. None of these guys are particularly stout as hitters, right? There's no aluminum bats in this group, right? Nobody's gonna just be laying people out. But for today, right? And plus they throw flags on everything. So for today, he brings enough in terms of tackling and hitting and has almost elite or close to elite at all the other things except pure speed. I get the idea he's going to run about somewhere between 4.54 and 4.48 probably, which is sufficient, right? It's fine. But he'll see the field immediately and be very productive.
Yeah, absolutely. So here's my top 5 safeties. Randall and I both have Zakee Waitley as our number 5. Okay. I threw in AJ Halsey.
Halsey's in my top 7, I think.
Yeah, right. And then I got McNeil Warren, of course, Thieneman and Downs, right?
Yeah, Thieneman.
But again, Randall's top 5 is
there we go.
Waitley, Clark, Thieneman, McNeil Warren, Caleb Downs, right?
Yeah.
So again, but this safety class has a lot of other guys who are going to be drafted. This could have been a good year for Jeff and his mock drafts to have safeties. This could be a very, very strong safety group.
And there's a lot of teams that are bad at safety. I'm not going to pick on anybody in particular, but we just saw a team make it to the AFC Championships and lose, at least in part, because their safety play is, how do I say this, not good, problematic. Like they don't do anything particularly well at safety. And you can get to a certain level as a defense with average to below average safety play, but you can never be above average as a defense if your safety play is bad, right? Because eventually a team will find your safeties. You can try to hide them, but good teams particularly will find your safeties and pick on them all day. And so if you want to be a Super Bowl team, right, a team that wins Super Bowls, I mean, look at the Eagles. Terrific safety play, right? Terrific safety play. Not good, terrific. Look at the most recent Super Bowl. Off the charts, good safety play. I mean, the Seahawks have a tradition of safety play. Shout out to Kenny Easley, the late, great Kenny Easley from my neck of the woods, Oscar F. Smith High School, Chesapeake, Virginia. But they've had a tradition of safety play literally since their inception as a franchise. Yeah. And when you have truly great safety play, and I know I say this all the time, and I'll try to not belabor it too much, but it frees up your defensive play caller so much. That is the great value of great safety play, is you don't have to be tiptoeing through your defensive gameplay. It's like, oh, we can't do that. Oh, we can't. Oh, I wish I could. Oh, I have this wonderful pressure. Oh, I can't trust it. Right? So when you have safeties that are at least very good, but especially when they're like elite or close to elite, now your whole defensive playbook is available to you. You're not having to protect. You're not having to be cautious. You're able to say, these guys are going to hold up. We won't give up a huge play here, even if, something doesn't work out, because my safeties are so solid. And when you don't have that, now it basically binds the hands, and mostly it binds the decision-making process of your defensive play caller to avoid right? They're always trying to disaster-proof the play call, as opposed to being able to, use a Mike Leach's swing their sword.
Yeah.
Yep.
Exactly
all day.
Right. Exactly right. So yeah, this has basically been episode number 1 here of Draft Central this year. Next week, we're going to do the linebackers.
Yes.
And the running backs.
Yep.
Linebackers, running backs.
Yep. And to coincide, this Friday you can find my top 25 linebackers on Team NBS Media. So I am putting the final touches on that as we speak. It is almost ready to be. It's still in the pan, still baking, but I'm putting the final touches on my rankings. Probably finish it tomorrow morning, and then we'll show up by no later than Friday.
Yeah, and again, this draft, Bill, I said it to Randall. This reminds me of the 2013 NFL draft, because there's only one quarterback and he's going to go first overall, unless, of course, they decide to make some kind of crazy deal. I have no idea
whatever Clint Kubiak was saying today.
Yeah. Whoa. No, I think you're on medication there, Clint.
A little too much smoke. You don't have to throw that much smoke out there.
Exactly right. But outside of Fernando Mendoza, there is no other quarterback.
I will be absolutely shocked if they make some kind of crazy deal. I can't fully rule it out, obviously, but I think it's a 99.8% chance that they just stick and pick.
Right. Wasn't that kind of the enticement for Clint Kubiak?
Right. Exactly.
I thought it was.
Right, yeah.
But again,
Geno Smith was not the dangling.
That wasn't the thing that got him the chance to coach Geno Smith.
Again, though, if I'm the Raiders, I don't put Mendoza out there until I've got a much better offensive line. I put Geno Smith out there until their offensive line shows that they've improved.
I think they buy it, right? They need to spend so much money. I think you buy it through free agency.
Yeah. I mean,
you probably do a little bit of both. Probably spend 3 picks on the offensive line, and then go out and spend a goo gobs of money on at least 2 players on the offensive line. So a total of 5 new bodies through a combination of draft and free agency. I would do. That's what I would.
Well, they do have a very good center.
Yes.
So
they do.
Good point.
They
can play guard. Didn't he play a little bit of guard?
Right.
Oh yeah, he played guard as well. But again, they need they need 4 new offensive linemen.
They do, correct. Which is why you bring 5 in, and one of them gives you quality depth, hopefully.
That's right.
There you go.
That's the key thing there. So again, once free agency occurs, we'll have a much better idea of what's going to happen with these teams. Again, free agency decides how you're going to draft. And this year, like I said to Randall as well, I don't care what your positional value is. This is not a positional value type of a draft. It just isn't.
Well, except for the first pick overall. Yeah, that pick is a positional value pick.
There you go. Good point.
I mean, you could take Bain, Reese, whoever, David Bailey as your second pick.
Watch out for one of the offensive tackles who has an amazing combine to move himself into discussion of the top 5, but won't go lower than 7 or 8.
Yeah, and that's more than likely going to be the right tackle from the Miami Hurricanes. Moaga. He's
got a chance.
More than likely, right? Yep. But again, this whole draft is one. It's going to be a very positional, non-positional rankings draft.
Position agnostic, yes. A lot of position agnostic picks, except for the teams that decide to go the other way and get desperate. So we're going to find out who can hold their water, Greg. We're going to find out who's got this, right? We'll watch, right? Because 1 or 2 teams are going to get nervous. There's going to be a run on some position that they really think that's like, and they're gonna move. They're gonna move up. We got to move up 3 picks. What will it cost us? I don't care, right? And then they're gonna do something. We'll know who it is. We'll smoke them out.
Yeah, exactly right. It's definitely going to be a draft where, like I said, safeties. We could see 2 or 3 of them go in round 1. We could really see that happen. We could see the linebacker class going early.
I think at least 2 of each. And you said 3 isn't out of the question, but I think no fewer than. I think in the top 30 picks, there's at least 2 safeties, at least 2 linebackers, and with the chance, to use sort of a spades term, 2 and a possible at each one of those positions.
Yep.
Probably just 1 tight end, and even that 1 tight end isn't guaranteed a spot in the first, right? I think it's going to be a fight, right? Mm-hmm. I think the thing that people are underestimating is offensive line. I think there's going to be many more offensive linemen going in the first round than people think.
But again, it's not the positional value side of the football field. It's the right tackle who are much deeper than the left tackle is.
Correct.
That is going to drive people off the deep end.
Right. And even when you're drafting, a lot of college left tackles, they end up being right tackles anyway. So you're going anyone who shows at the combine that they definitely can play like left tackle, that person's going to move up, right?
Yeah.
Someone who shows out, if you have Mr. Anacho or if somebody has just an amazing combine and it's like, oh, that guy's definitely a left tackle.
Well, the Wisconsin left tackle didn't even get an invite to the Senior Bowl. Right. He was a right tackle his entire career, moved over to the left-hand side, played pretty well for Wisconsin, but he didn't get an invite. Well, we'll see what happens with all of that sort of stuff.
Yes, sir.
But again, gentlemen, next week, linebackers and running backs.
Yes, sir.
So that will be the Draft Central episode next week here on TeamNBSmedia.com's YouTube channel. We do need you to like and subscribe to our channel, please, and thank you. Yes. And everybody, take care.